Hey, welcome to another show. Oh my goodness. All right. Hey, yo, listen, we got to talk about this because I found this particular one hilarious. Okay. Now, I don't know about y'all, but these calling shows that Fresh and Fit are having right now is absolutely growing on me. They're just hilarious because what is happening now is we have a window into their audience. I mean, for a while, we kind of speculated who they were and the kind of archetypes these people, could be, right? Because, the real weird incel types with porn addiction issues, that kind of stuff, right? But now with these calling shows, we actually have to own up to something, folks. All right, I'm gonna be real with y'all. We will have to own up to that. At least that there's some people within the Fresh and Fit audience, all right, or the Red Pill audience that are actually not totally dumb, okay, and they're able to ask certain questions. Now, where it seems kind of odd is the miscommunication when it comes to them communicating with Fresh and Fit, and by them I mean the audience basically airing out their grievances with these two bozos, right? Whether it's, something along the lines of their hypocrisy that's blatant, or something along the lines of Fresh lying and not being able to lose that same 30 pounds he's been claiming he's been losing for the past 3 years. It's been 3 years, Fresh, and you still haven't lost those 30 pounds. It just doesn't make any sense. So calling them out on that, the way Fresh and Fit will respond to something like that is kind of just either outright dismissing the claims, redirecting it as Myron always does, or just flat out trying to ask for their Instagram or shaming them. In this case with Fresh, okay? Now, we've seen the brunt happen with Fresh Prince CEO because a lot of people do call in to have smoke for him. But now we're seeing stuff from Myron, and one specifically, which I didn't think they would get called out on, was the financial stuff, right? Because you think they get called out on the stuff with the girls, right? The ill-advised information they've been giving to a lot of these young men, who it's most definitely going to ruin your relationship, guaranteed. If you came into a Red Pill with a girlfriend, you're leaving without one, and you found Myron as your new boyfriend. That's how that shit works. They want to strip you of your life so they could be your boyfriends. It's like OnlyFans for boys. That's essentially what this is. If you don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. All right. But I never thought on their financial shit, the stuff that they rely on. The one thing when you criticize the weird relationship advice they give, they always fall back to the financial stuff. See, we help men improve their finances and be high value. All right, if you're thinking about Fresh, that's one of his main things. We help guys get high value. All right, we get them to be able to provide for their families and protect their families. Right, that's their main thing. And one of the methods they use to do that are their Money Mondays and some of the other sideshows they've been doing. In addition, they want to classify this stuff as real content because Fresh and Fit audience and Fresh and Fit themselves both know that the main show is the girls. That's the main show, right? Anything else is the sideshow, right? And that's the thing. So in their crazy attempt to not seem so one-sided, right? They decide, you know what, let's have these other sideshows here where we talk about money and stuff like that. But so that way we can say we're not all about just OnlyFans women and getting our fans to subscribe to these said women. Okay, we also do finance stuff too. All right, I got 19 real estate properties. My name is Myron. That's essentially what they do. They hide behind all of that shit. Okay, and listen, I'm not paying any kind of money to sign up for their courses, right? Just to learn what about real estate. So I'm not going to get for free on YouTube or ordering a cheap book online. Okay. But here's how they do it, right? We're going to focus on real estate for a second because that's what the caller specified at this point, right? Is the real estate, what do you call it? The real estate advice that Myron has given. Now, it's no secret in the Red Pill, the Fresh and Fit aren't the first one doing it. A lot of these guys, in addition to the female advice that they want to give you regarding your relationship or lack thereof, all right, they also want to talk to you about your finances. Now, on the surface, it may seem like they genuinely want to help you by giving you these free advice, right? These free, value that they do on their podcast. But in order for you to get the real shit, okay, if you want the real shit, now you gotta subscribe. You gotta subscribe to our OnlyFans. I mean, not our OnlyFans, our courses online. It's definitely not like OnlyFans. Just subscribe and you get all the dirty secrets. And you know what was happening when you subscribe to some of these courses that these guys sell? Because that's what it is. It's a funnel, right? Once you subscribe to that, You think the idea, the advice they're gonna give you is actually better, more in depth, more surgical, and tailored to your needs? Absolutely not. Matter of fact, you'll find even way less helpful advice when you actually join up in this program, and you'd find more of the general shit that they do because these guys don't actually know anything. It's not saying they don't know in when it comes to them and their wallets. Oh, they know how to make themselves rich. When it comes to you being a fans, no, 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 no. You are the medium for them to get rich. So by them buying or selling you courses, it's not to help you because there are many other tools out there that you can use for free. Okay? No, 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 no. It's about you helping them by paying them to get that advice. Okay. So one of the main things is their real estate courses. Now, I don't know what specifically fresh and fit we're selling or tailoring to this, okay, but we do know they do have an you know, what do you call it, a advice show where they coach people on their finances, at least various aspects of it. Now here's where I have a problem with this. What are you grown men doing taking financial advice from a guy who is a former Homeland Security agent and a dude from Barbados we barely know? What are you doing? Like, is it that easy? Is it honestly that easy, chat? Like, I don't get it. Like, first of all, the guy has no experience in real estate. Not saying he can't partner up with the people, you know, that can give you good advice, but these guys, any advice that they give you, you have to understand, you need to take it with a grain of salt because they don't have a fiduciary responsibility to you to help you make sure that you're making financial investments that are actually suiting your needs. Okay. Oftentimes, when you look beneath the surface, it's suiting their needs. And that's what this particular caller kind of had in mind, just to call in and talk about some of the real estate advice that Fresh and Fit tend to give and say, hey, it seems like you guys are giving me you know, the happy ending version when it comes to owning properties and all these other things. You're making it sound too easy. How about we let the guys know seriously about how much all the stuff can cost, right? Not only in, you know, repairs and all these other maintenance things that you can assign to it there, but interest rates, right? Because apparently Fresh and Fit believe that, you know, just because you invest your money in a duplex, okay, and you have the other families paying for it, technically who cares, right? Who cares about the interest and managing all that long term? It's just they're paying for it, and now you get the cash flow, which is one of the main things they preach. And again, I'm not against cash flow, but at the expense of not making sure you have the right mortgage or interest rate to cover you, right? That might prove very, very, very catastrophic in the future. Okay, so again, not saying there's anything wrong with, you know, getting rental properties for cash flow. Is just, are you in the position to do it? And if you are, should you be aware of the various risks instead of the happy ending version that you hear online? Okay, and that's what this caller was basically trying to specify here, saying, hey, you know, these interest rates are high. You know, you're still paying for it. And what if there's an emergency that happens where the tenant all of a sudden has to go and, you know, something's up and now you're stuck with a unit that you got to, you know, take amount of time, a certain amount of time to fill in and, you know, vet the client to make sure everything's all good, credit wise, payment wise, setup wise. And on top of that, when they move in, they're probably going to have demands on how the place should look, right? So now you got to spend additional cost and making sure the initial move-in maintenance, because all renters, okay, we check everything. When we move in, we got our checklist. Like, okay, that's out of place. That's out of place. That's out of place. Guess who we call it? The landlord, right? Hey, come over here and fix this right now. So, as a young person who's trying to start their business and starting to, you know, go towards real estate for rental income, right? When should you do it? What types of risk? What types of market should you be in? Where you be? A lot of these things seems to just fall by the wayside in favor of, you know, the happy ending version, where it just seems like, hey, as long as you have a little bit of a savings, okay, it doesn't matter what the interest rates is, it doesn't matter what it is, because you're gonna get people to move in and they're just gonna pay your interest and you're gonna pay your mortgage for you, okay. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's Fresh and Fit's take on it. Now, here's the thing. Whatever you guys think, how you think on their advice and things like that, it's not so much about the advice itself we're focused on here today, but more on just the dynamic of how these bozos don't even understand how to listen to their own fans. And I just always have to wonder, like, how do y'all still think these guys are legit? Even when you call in, it doesn't even seem like they're able to connect with you. But guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the video. But before we do that, all right, we got to go ahead and go over the sponsor of today's show, and that's you guys. More specifically, the YouTube like button. Yeah. The one right below the screen here. That one right here, okay? Shout out to you guys for being here. Y'all could be anywhere in the world right now, but you're spending the night with me, and that means a lot to me. So go ahead and don't even let your time be wasted and sponsor the show, because y'all lit. Y'all are the show. So shout out to you. We're doing this for you. So hit that like button, and if you fuck with the show, go ahead and hit the subscribe button too as well. No pressure, all right? No pressure. Just so you know, we clown these people on a regular. So go ahead and smash that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get to this video. Now, this caller, I don't know, because they're calling him slow and whatnot. And the reason why they're calling him slow, because maybe the caller didn't hear certain things that Fresh and Fit may have said in prior shows. So again, it's how they try to bridge the gap here when it comes down to communicating. You got to pay attention to, because these things they're really eye-opening to the window of the character.
7, you are up. 8687, you are up.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are y'all?
What's up, man? What's your question?
I know this guy.
Yes, you know me, Fresh. Future Congressman Fresh. You know me.
Welcome back. Future Congressman.
You still ain't ran for Congress, damn it.
Who's this guy?
Fresh.
You forgot? How the hell am I supposed to send you some money if you ain't running for Congress?
Hey man, I'm running for Fresh and Fit. You can send it here. Shout out to you though.
I need you to run for Congress, goddammit. I mean, I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you, from coconuts in Barbados, to Capitol Hill, a fresh.
Bomba.
What's the question, man? What's the question,
what's the question, bro?
Come on, man. Let's go.
Okay, I apologize. Let me get into it. So basically, I've been very critical of your financial advice, particularly doing FHA loans and things of that nature. And I just got my my end of the year statement where, I just made minimum payments, on my mortgage, right? And I'm telling you, like, guys, you're encouraging, you guys have a bigger and better voice than I do, okay? Y'all are more influential than I'll ever be. And I'm concerned that you're going to put more and more young men into debt that they can't afford to pay back. I mean, when I look at my year-end mortgage statement, like, do you guys realize that only 15% of your payments actually go to the the principal of the mortgage? Everything goes to interest and principal.
Yes, that is a traditional amortization scale. Like that, yes, that is.
Yo, they laughing too. They laugh. Oh my God, dude, I'm dying out here. I can't believe it, bro. We barely started the show. Oh my God. He said, the way Buddy said it to, hey, listen, bro, I got the mortgage at the end of the year, bro. Do you know that most of my money is going to interest? Only 15% go to my mortgage, dog. Hey, yo, my man. If you got this mortgage on Fresh and Fit's behalf, listening to them without listening to actual financial advisors and mortgage brokers and real estate agents in your area, okay, I don't feel sorry for you. You call and complain about my taxes. It's too damn high. Look at this interest. God damn it. Y'all should have told me. Yo, listen, please tell me. Listen. Speak to people that are professionals about getting a mortgage, because yes, this is something that is part of it. And you need to understand if it's something you can handle. Because again, these guys preach these real estate stuff to make it seem like, okay, something you can start up real quick, and once you get it, all right, you can start earning cash flow, within the next 2-3 months, right? People don't understand how long of a process that can take. I'm not a real estate expert here. There are probably real estate experts in the chat right now who are y'all can let me know, okay? But it seems as though it's usually not, especially for rental properties, it's not a quick of a turnaround or as consistent of a cash flow as these guys are making it seem, okay? So again, first of all, you got to make sure you can handle your payments, because there's this thing called foreclosure, and it happens to millions of Americans just like you that find their bill at the end of the year and they're looking at all the interest they're paying and thinking, I don't know how much more I can keep affording this. Okay, so it's a real thing. Trust me. Don't be that guy that gets your advice from punks on the internet. Okay, it's just so sad. Anna Rodriguez, shout out to you. Oh, by the way, what's special about today's show? Okay, because it's going to be a minute before we talk about these two bozos again, okay? But still, we're going to do a call-in show on this particular show right here, all right? So we got first somebody else that I sent the link to, but then we're going to post the link generally, so anybody who wants to talk about it, call in, all right? If you've been scammed before by these bozos, I like to know, but more specifically, I want to talk to you, the Fresh and Fit guys, okay? Now's your chance, so click the link, okay? But that's gonna drop once we're done with this video. Shout out to Anna with the super chat. I don't play games with the 2. Shout out to you, says I'm here. Yeah, shout out to you. You got the link, so go ahead and once the show's over, come up here, because you had a lot of things to say about Fresh and Fit when you called in, and I want to pick your brain a little bit about what's going on.
Traditional, when you get a 30-year fixed loan, the majority of your payments absolutely go to interest, especially in the first 10 to 20 years.
Not principal.
It doesn't go to the principal. We're completely aware of that.
Yes, but your viewers, I don't think, are aware of that. So when they're not paying back the money, like, for example, I could send you guys receipts where I've owned my home now for
caller.
I bought it.
What is the point of buying real estate that we tell guys to do? What's the point of it? Cash flow, right? Cash flow, correct?
Yes.
Good.
Yes,
so paying it back, does it matter that much?
It kind of does.
It matters a lot, especially you're telling people to depend on renters, but we live in reality. Shit happens, or I apologize for cursing on your show, but things happen, right? And renters can't pay back. You're going to get some sob stories. You're going to have bad tenants that don't pay. They're going to tear your crap up.
Hence, we have emergency funds. We have money saved up for rainy days like that happen, and we get a new tenant. Simple.
It's not that simple. Again, the happy ending version of what these guys sell. Again, they're not wrong, okay, in the sense of you get an emergency fund and things like that, right? But if we're even, let's talk about the individuals for a second. The average American can even afford a $700 emergency. A $700 emergency, they won't have it in their savings. Let alone a young couple, let's say, who are trying to start their own rental property or passive income and earn from that, right? It's not going to be that easy to have the required savings down in time for an emergency, because it's an emergency. It happens at any time. It can happen, okay? And wherever you are, you could be in a tight cash flow pinch, okay? So you're making it out to be simple, but it's not that simple. So right off the bat, I already understand the perspective of where these guys coming from, but watch the dismissal coming from these two bozos. It's just weird to me.
We move on.
We don't move on. That's not how that works.
It's not as simple as you think, because you guys don't even preach about emergency funds.
Yes, we do.
Bro,
he just did earlier.
Bruh.
No, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk about
$25K saved up. It's not enough money. You just told the guy that earlier.
Of course.
$25K is not enough money. I agree. But how many of your audience watching right now can instantly come up with over $25,000 in emergency fund? Let's just be real here, okay? How many people can easily just put up $50,000 right off the bat in emergency funds that are following you in your chat that are trying to get their grind up? If they had $50,000 in savings lying around, okay, I can almost guarantee you they're not going to be searching the internet for Fresh and Fit to give them real estate advice. Okay, that's just not how that works. The average American, especially the people you're talking to right now in your chat, they can't even afford the minimum that you're saying is not enough. When you're saying 25K is not enough, yeah. But look who you're talking to. That's why they're calling you and letting you know. If they're telling you the interest is too damn high for even the monthly payments, bro, come on. Does that let you know if they got savings just lying around there? Oh, and by the way, Fresh and Fit, I don't know if you know this or not, but the number one killer of savings is interest. So, I mean, just keep that in mind.
Of course, 25K is not, well, it depends on where market you live in, and where I live at. Yeah, 25K, that ain't shit. And that ain't going to buy you nothing. And again, I apologize for cursing. But
literally like 15 minutes ago, dude, everything you're saying is wrong. Literally, it's hurting my head just listening to you speak. Literally like 15 minutes ago, I told a guy, yo, that's not enough. You need to have money in your emergency fund. That's number one. Number two, you're assuming that we tell guys to get a 30-year fixed loan so that they can go ahead and pay back the principal. No, we tell guys to get a 30-year fixed loan so that they can get a locked-in interest rate that's competitive at the time that they purchase the home, and then put tenants in, and the tenants pay that ridiculous amortization scale. That's why we tell people all the time, try to buy a duplex or a triplex at best so that your mortgage can be divvied up between you and your tenants. If you got tenants paying your mortgage, it doesn't matter if you're paying the principal down or not, because your goal was to get into the home with a low cost, with a good interest rate, so that you're able to pocket cash flow. Now,
but what if an emergency happens? Okay, now what? Okay, listen, getting your roof replaced is not cheap. I'm just even finding that out, dog. It's not a cheap thing to get the tools together, to even get the labor, to get it's expensive. So one emergency is enough to wipe out anything that you had planned. Okay, it could be one tenant deciding, okay, their parents died in the other side of the country and they have to leave right now. Fuck whatever contract you have in them, they're gone. There goes your cash flow right then and there. And if your focus is not a set plan on paying that off, and you're just using your tenants to pay the monthly payments, dude, over time it will get expensive. All right. And if one of those little emergencies were to hit at the wrong time, you could be looking at a foreclosure situation. So everything you've worked for could easily be gone like that. And we're not even talking about insurance. Okay. I mean, that's another thing that people don't think about when they purchase homes. All right. And if they do think about it, the calculations is not what they think it is, right? Because they're thinking, oh, the mortgage is going to be one thing, and next minute, boom, it's right here. So again, there are a lot of factors that these guys like to sugarcoat, because again, it's what I call, the happy ending of finance. And again, if you want to get legitimate financial advice, take it from people who actually will have your best interest at heart. Okay, if you go to your local bank, if you have a relationship with your local bank, like U.S. Bank or what do you call it, Wells Fargo, right? If you go to your local bank, you've built a relationship, they have a mortgage broker that works in there. So go talk to them and figure out your options, okay? They can even connect you to real estate agents to be able to help you figure it out if you want to go ahead and go down this route, okay? And they even have financial advisors within your branch. And all those people have a fiduciary responsibility to you to make sure that you get the right advice to help your needs. Again, you're a client of theirs. Fresh and Fit, they don't know you. They don't give a fuck about you. And at the end of the day, the advice is this dog water. That's what it is, bro.
We tell people, if you're going to buy a single family home, stay in it for
Susie Sanchez. Oh my God, you're such a fucking fangirl. This person just said a mortgage broker isn't gonna give you advice. Bro, what is wrong with you? Dog, what is wrong with you? So yeah, I'm just gonna go to a mortgage broker and you're not gonna give me advice. The only people that are gonna give me advice are these two clowns sitting in front of me. Go figure. See how that works out for you.
For a year and get the hell out and put a tenant in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, because here's the thing. You started off this criticism with your own personal experience where you bought a house and then you looked at the amortization scale and you figured out, damn, this kind of sucks because I'm paying a lot in interest. Yeah, we don't tell people to do that. We tell them you're getting the FHA loan not to just get a 30-year fixed loan. You're getting the FHA loan so you don't have to put your own money, as much of your own money into the deal, while simultaneously being able to extract cash flow from your tenants, which is why I'm really big on people buying multi-unit properties. And if they're going to go the route of getting a single family home, they need to stay in that bitch for a year and get the hell up out of there.
It's, again, not that easy because in a year, the market could change. In a year, we had COVID. No one knew that was going to happen, all right? I mean, a few people know, but still, all right? It's just saying. But still, anything can happen in a year. A year's a pretty long time. So if you just say, yeah, just buy a single family home, all right, you're living it for a year and then go. Okay, in a year, you break your leg. Now you can't move. You couldn't work. You're on disability. Income's not as high anymore. Now you have to, instead of staying there for a year, you got to stay there for 2 years. The bills are piling up. All right, now you can't even get caught up on that. And now you got to stay there for 3 years because we always tell ourselves, all right, this time it'll be different. But it always gets worse incrementally, okay? To the point where you're up to debt in medical bills, all these maintenance that you got to pay, and again, your income is decreased. That can happen to people within a year, all right? You're giving, again, one of these happy endings, happy forever endings, whatever you want to call it, prospect of finance. This guy's letting you know there are all these other obstacles that can be there. It's important for you to be honest. But even when you're trying to be honest, you're still sugarcoating a lot, just making it seem like, oh, yeah, if you got bad tenants, yeah, just they'll kick them out and then you get new ones. Do you know how long eviction processes take? Okay. It's not a simple, I'm going to serve you with papers and you got to go. Some eviction processes can take months. And in those months, those people aren't even required to pay you. You're not getting income from that. Now what? There's so many things to worry about. And there are manuals out there, by the way, that can coach you on this stuff, especially on evicting, tenants that don't want to, pay up, right? There's guidelines to it. I suggest you consult those guidelines before you consult two bozos on the internet that try to oversimplify everything.
Well, sir, may I respond, sir?
Sure.
Mr. Gaines, may I respond, Mr. Gaines?
Sure.
Well, basically, that's not true. I mean, I've been listening to your show, like, and again, I'm a fan of you guys. Don't get me wrong.
You're clearly not listening to the show because if you've been listening to the show, you would have known that we told the guy $25K wasn't enough for an emergency fund. But then you go ahead and you said that we don't tell people to have an emergency fund. So you're not listening. Hell, not even 15 minutes ago you were listening.
Well, no, sir. I'm not talking about the $25K emergency fund. I'm the Dave Ramsey guy. The guy
you literally just made an assertion that we don't tell guys to have an emergency fund when we literally told the caller on this very podcast that you're calling into to have an emergency fund.
Yeah, but just telling them, you need to have an emergency fund of $25K. It's easier said than done. Again, you're just simplifying it. Most Americans, they barely have $700 sitting around. That's just the average. So if your job is to give advice, here's where I'm coming from here, to average men, to help them increase their cash flow so they can get on their path to be high value, that advice doesn't work for them, okay? Unless they get a fucking loan, and then in that case, they're up to their necks with fucking debt. Okay, so then again, it doesn't work. Just saying, $25K. Okay, can you give a detailed layout plan on how they can get to that money? Right? What's the plan? How are you going to get the $25K? All right, again, you're giving advice to average dudes in your show. If your show is filled with high value people, okay, there wouldn't even be a need to do any of this because again, a lot of those guys probably already have good head on their shoulders to figure this shit out without the help of two bozos with no experience in the matter to begin with. Okay, so again, they're not high value men. Most of your audiences we've established are probably around the ages of the Sneakos, okay, and the other streamers of the world. So again, how are they even going to come up with $25K? You're making it sound so easy, but it's easier said than done. And by the way, one bad roof incident can wipe that entire savings out. I'm not joking. Dude, I have friends who got rental properties, dude, and they're always fucking complaining every single time. I hear these complaints all the time, bro. You're making this out. Damn near it made me not even want to just like. I'm like, oh no, y'all, you might as well just go get a management company, dude. Like, yeah, at this point, like, what are you doing? But you got to have bread for that too, right? And some companies, the management fees are probably more, especially for these guys who are going to be starting out. Okay, so again, it's just one of those things where the advice. They're telling you these things, but they're preaching to people who can't even take it. That's the problem.
No, sir, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is telling these guys 3% down FHA loans.
3% down.
All you got to do, and matter of fact, is Mr. Potson or
hey, I'm gonna tell you this: if you can't come up with 20%, don't buy a house. I'm dead ass, dog. I'm dead ass, bro. If you can listen, them 3%, 5%, just listen. I'm telling you right now, 20% is that sweet spot. It's that sweet spot because equity-wise, you need to think about that. All right, coming up with 3%, that's not enough. Yeah, you can get away with that if you're planning on having a home and staying there for a while and whatnot. There's nothing wrong with getting one of these FHAs and 3.5% down payment or whatever the fuck, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But in these guys, in their case, they're trying to get you into a home. Not for living, but for renting. Okay, again. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, it's oh my goodness, bro. Listen, let me just continue, dog. This is crazy.
Big Mo can pull up a mortgage calculator. You'll see I'm right. You'll see I'm right.
Right about what?
You're going to be paying. That you're going to be paying a shit ton. Or apologies for cursing again. But you're going to be paying a ton of money back in interest.
Yes.
You're not paying down the principal.
That doesn't matter. Holy shit, dude. That doesn't matter.
Interest matters to some people. Actually, to a lot of people, interest is actually calculated as part of their investment. So you just say, no, it doesn't matter. We're doing this for cash flow. You're going to get tenants anyway to pay for it. You're oversimplifying it, okay? So, again, they're getting frustrated because the fan is basically trying to consult them about the potential issues and pitfalls. They're getting frustrated because it's like, well, to them, it's just that easy. What do you mean? Listen, again, I'm going to say this. If you don't have at least 25%, don't buy a home. Okay, because listen, it's like buying a car, for example. People try to buy a car with small down payments and whatnot, or no down payment or whatever it is. Don't do that. Always come with down payments, like literally down payment, 10 to 20% if you could do it right. You gotta listen. What down payment does, it keeps you in an equity position because sometimes homes can depreciate. I mean, they're appreciating right now. That's good, right? But in terms of cars, they can depreciate, right? So let's say if something happens, you buy a car, take it off the lot, somebody dings it, right? All of a sudden, that value, let's say it was worth $10,000, now it's worth $6,000, right? Again, now you're upside down on the loan. If you didn't have sufficient down payment, all right, if you didn't have anything realistically, one of those zero down and drive off, you're going to be upside down in it because the value of the car is now worth what the loan price you're paying for it right then and there. It's similar to a house. Anything could happen. Anything could happen, okay, that can ruin the property value. There could be someone could have a Walmart move in or some shit. I don't know. I don't know. And by the way, I don't know if Walmart ruined property values, but it just seems like it'd be one of those companies that would. But anything can happen, and before you know it, you're upside down in your loan. If it happened in 2008, it can happen again. Most people in 2008, right before the crash, thought, oh, housing prices are always going to go up. Oh, my goodness, I'm getting rich off my houses. Let's get more of these goddamn loans, right? And what ended up happening? Boom. Something that people didn't expect to happen actually happened, and millions went homeless. Again, interest does matter. Just if you don't think it does, tell that to the people that suffered 2008, and you let me know how that worked out for them.
That doesn't matter if you're paying the principal or the interest because you're not the one paying it. That's the whole premise of getting tenants. If you're not the one paying the mortgage, who gives a shit?
Okay, and what happens when the tenant doesn't pay?
You have money for vacancy, which we've talked about explicitly on episodes of real estate, where you need to have some money on the side, emergency money on the side for every single unit that you have in case of vacancy.
Ta-da!
Every single argument or angle that you've tried to come out with real estate, okay? We've had a way to deal with it. Vacancy, bad tenants, etc. We've talked about all of this already, bro.
Bro, again, you're making it easy. And when you're saying you're talking about it, I'm almost guaranteeing you didn't even go that in depth. Okay, I don't think people realize how fragile our economy is. I don't think Americans truly understand it, and that's the problem. We fall victim into everything's just doing good. Everything's great. So, what could possibly go wrong, right? We get lulled so easily into sleeping that we don't realize anything can happen. You don't even know the chain of events that can happen, even the example they listed off, right? For instance, the economy is so fragile. Let's say something happens with Russia or in the Middle East or something like that that triggers anything that can start affecting America's economy in a negative way, right? All of a sudden, those renters who are paying you to live there, they can't afford their jobs because they got laid off. Now they're gone. And now you're finding less and less people with jobs because that number is growing. Okay. Now you're sitting here with less tenants. Okay. Fewer are able to afford the price because you got to raise the rent price. It appreciates every year. Okay. And less people are going to be able to afford it because jobs are being lost. And then what happens? You can no longer afford to pay for that home that you bought. If you don't think it can happen in the future, if you don't think the market, and I'm not saying it won't, even if it crashes, it's not going to go back up, of course, but there could be a crash. I mean, don't sit there and act like it's not it can't happen. Okay, we're that fragile of an economy, for Pete's sakes. Again, it's good to be mindful of interest. It's good to be mindful of taxes. It's good to be mindful of all of these things before you make a huge financial purchase like a mortgage, especially in this economy. It's too expensive, and if anything goes wrong after you bought, you could be buying at the top of the market right now. And guess what happens? It's 2008 all over again.
Tenants that tear your property up.
What?
I said tenants that tear your property up.
That's why I specifically tell people don't rent to people that make $60,000 per year.
Like,
bro, I'm ironclad on this shit, bro. Like,
don't rent the people that make $60,000 a year. That's fine advice.
I have over 50 tenants. I know what I'm talking about. I literally tell guys, don't make the mistake that I made. Try to stay away from Section 8. Try to get tenants that make $60,000 a year plus or more. Try to buy B and C type properties. Try to get people in blue collar work that have stable jobs. Try to get property by a hospital if you can and rent to people in that line of work. Have enough money where you can deal with vacancy for a few months. Try to buy in an area that has a high renter market. Don't buy A-class.
Well, you're saying blue collar work, right? What type of blue collar work should these guys be looking for specifically? For instance, there are people that work in blue collar that get laid off for certain periods of the year. Okay. And there are certain periods of the year, they're probably not having income coming in. All right. What is the strategy for that? Right. Again, a lot of these things that you can go into detail, and a good advisor, someone who actually is knowledgeable about these things, not some bozo that got 50 real estate properties off the backs of y'all, by the way, because y'all gave him over $1.5 million in super chats. With that amount of money, Fresh and him can start coming up with more than $25,000 in emergency savings. They're already showing you they're disconnected from you without even telling you directly. They're disconnected from the fans that made them rich. So they think all this shit's easy. If it was that easy, where was those 19 real estate properties with over 50 tenants when Myron was making six figures as an average Homeland Security guy? Even him making six figures didn't have any of that set up. But look how he's trying to tell you after he got rich off of YouTube. Their advice of their life or what they think it is isn't exactly the right path for you. All right. And almost always isn't. You need to go seek a professional to do that. And I'm dead ass serious here. We're laughing because this is funny, but somebody could actually take their advice and find themselves in a whole lot of hurt.
Properties. Every single argument that you could come with, I've already given a solution to it to some degree. Here's the thing. Guys like you that watch Dave Ramsey that are conservative investors that want to go ahead and invest in the S&P 500 and all these other things that don't fucking make money have a problem with real estate, because real estate, you have to take on debt. But the difference is this: taking on real estate debt and having tenants pay your property mortgage for you is a big W.
I'd rather invest in an index fund. I'm with Dave Ramsey on this one, bro. Like, seriously, bro. Like, listen, I don't have anything against mortgages, okay? Unless you have a plan. As long as you have a plan, listen, That's fine by me. You're good, bro. And that plan usually coming up with 20 to 30% down. If you ain't got that, you're trying to get away with 5%. If the market turns, you're easily upside down on your house. Easily. All right. And you don't have any equity to help you out. And worst of all, in this fast appreciating market of homes right now, where people are all of a sudden seeing these extra values in their house, and you end up being dumb enough to take a double mortgage to go buy another property. Listen, bro, if the market turns anywhere south, you're done. that debt you had or millions of dollars you had in the property all of a sudden turns into a massive liability that you may or may not be able to afford. Okay, so Dave Ramsey isn't totally against mortgages, so you got that shit wrong. So you classifying Dave Ramsey as some super ultra conservative safe person. No, okay, he's not totally against mortgages. He just wants you to have a plan when you get one, so you don't end up upside down. I don't get this. All right, and what's wrong with an index fund? All right, what's wrong with investing in the mutual, right? I don't understand this, bro. Like, slow growth. What's wrong with slow, steady growth? I think I would much rather have slow, steady growth than do all these high risk stuff, all right, and not even know what the fuck I'm doing because I'm listening to YouTube niggas. Just saying, bro.
You know what you're doing? You can make quite a bit of money doing it. Real estate is the #1 asset class for a reason. Okay, but you got to know what you're doing. And we've talked about all of these things that you're talking about, all these like issues or concerns that you've talked about. We've talked about explicitly on our real estate podcasts with solutions for every single one. That I am ironclad on this.
Well, Mr. Gaines. First of all, let me respond by saying, sir, that first of all, that if it was so easy, everybody would do it.
Facts. Why is Fresh laughing, bro? Bro, every time he opens his mouth, just something dumb happens.
I never said it was easy. However, this information is not taught because they don't want you to learn this stuff.
Who is they? Who is they? Who is they not one? There's so many free information out there on this topic alone. What cabal or conspiracy is preventing you from learning about real estate? No one is preventing you. Yeah, they don't explicitly teach that in schools, and I wish they did, but that's not a conspiracy to say, oh, no, let's not have people study on this stuff. Because if it was, then we wouldn't have books on it. We wouldn't have people who host seminars on it. We wouldn't have people who have articles and blogs on the internet and YouTube videos online for free giving you these knowledge. So what do you... Again, they're tying us to this matrix shit to make you think that the rest of the world, aside from them, when it comes to media, is lying to you. Okay, you can't trust them. The only people you gotta trust are these two bozos because they're the only ones who are trying to give you the truth because everyone else is trying to hide it. Bro, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding? They're trying to hide the knowledge of... Bro, listen, we're in the age of the internet. Anything that we got Google, everyone has that at their fingertips. Okay, if knowledge is hidden from you, it's because you weren't looking for it.
No, but see, that's not true. I mean, like there's risk, there's a lot of risk involved that I think you guys are kind of glossing over the facts.
If you take the precautions that I said, right, where you have enough money in savings where you can deal with a few months of vacancy, you're renting out to 60,000 plus 60,000 a year plus earning tenants, etc. Most of these problems are going to evaporate.
But that's the thing. Like, I can go back to your videos and I haven't seen that.
Well,
nigga, you didn't even see.
Whoa! Who told Discount Terrence Howard to be on the screen? Hey, who told Discount Terrence Howard he can be on the screen? What is he doing? What is the point of this, bro?
And I haven't seen that.
Well,
nigga, you didn't even see, bro. Nigga, you didn't even see 15 minutes ago when I told the guy that 25K wasn't enough and he had to have an emergency savings. You didn't even see that.
Caller, watch your shows and come back to us, man. You're not watching none of these shows, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Yeah, Caller, you're funny though. I'll give you that.
No.
Nigga voted for Biden.
Fresh.
Talk to us.
You know me.
He voted for... What does his political views have to... Again, this is more one of these matrix brainwashing because, again, what they're doing is... And I'm not a leftist, by the way. I'm more in the center. I don't believe the conservatives. I don't believe far leftists. I think they're both crazy, okay? Especially the alt-right and the far left. So this ain't about politics here. But you see how they're always tying everything to politics because it's this notion, especially when you're in these pill-popping spaces, that anything everything on the left is most definitely trying to manipulate you and, turn you into a soy boy or some shit like that, right? So when they're saying, oh, you're definitely voting for Biden, in their view, that's supposed to be an insult. Like voting for Biden is supposed to be an insult. Like what? Like, so what does that mean? Does that mean that they're soft lefties? What are you trying to say? Again, one of these cold dog whistling languages that you guys have to watch out for when they're subtly trying to manipulate you. Is what they're doing, right? What is his political? How do you even know he voted for Biden? Did you see? Were you able to pull up his voting record and say, "Hey, we know you voted for Biden"? What the fuck was the point of that statement, right? Because it was a dog whistle to their audience to immediately dismiss whatever this guy is saying. So whatever concerns this guy legitimately has, again, Fresh and Fit are not wrong. I just don't think their advice is, it's just all basic shit. Okay, it's easy basic shit and they oversimplify it. That's the problem. It's too oversimplified. The other guy was bringing in the caution. They just didn't want to hear it. That's the way I'm viewing this right now. And honestly, it's just one of those things where you got to grow up, man. You gotta freaking grow up. This shit, I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing here? Yo, Tony Shotzi for the 5. Sup, fam? If NATO continues to put troops in Ukraine, Vladimir Putin said if Vladimir Putin said if they do, he will nuke parts of the U.S. Coach Red Pill warned us. I don't think he'll be bold enough to do that. There's no way, unless he's talking about Alaska. But either way, he's not going to risk any of that. That's too much. What these countries do is, especially with Putin, right? Because a lot of things Putin got, the one thing he does have is the ability to, make these threats with nuclear weapons, right? And he's done that throughout the Ukrainian war, and he's actually possibly have used depleted uranium amongst Ukrainians. So we know there's at least some uses there, right? But to go all out and strike the U.S., that's a no-no. It's not going to happen. All right, but I mean, there are already foreign troops in Ukraine already. There've always been foreign troops in Ukraine. There've been Americans. There've been people from France. There's been people from Germany. There've been people from all over the neighboring Europeans basically coming together to help Ukraine figure out what's going on. But will Vladimir go to the point where he's going to nuke Ukraine? No. It's probably going to be a 1-on 5 or 10 situation where him and probably help from Iran and with equipment supplied from China, okay, it's probably going to be them against the rest of NATO and United States. And realistically, when we say NATO, United States. I mean, sorry to my European brothers and sisters. Let's just be real here. When you look at the level of funding and the inputs compared to the United States and all these other countries, it seems like America owns a lot of these Western institutions that are supposed to be for Europeans. Just saying. I look at the money. I don't look at the leaders or whoever they say they're president, because whoever's financing this shit pretty much runs the whole thing. But whatever. Shout out to you. Dev with the 5. Dev says, so take advice from Ramsey, who has a degree in finance and real estate, or 2 bozos that happen to get lucky. That's facts. Yo, facts, dog. Like, why listen to Dave Ramsey, who actually has credentials and surrounds himself with a team of people who also have credentials, when you can listen to Fresh and Fit? I mean, look, Fresh has a chain, all right, and they have girls on their podcast, so of course they're obviously successful. I mean, has Myron done a tour on one of his properties? As Fresh? Well, what does Fresh even own? I mean, Myron boasts about 50 properties, so I know at least he's investing his money. But where are Fresh's properties? How many does he own, right? Does Fresh even have any expertise in real estate? If he doesn't, who is he to give you advice? Well, like, I mean, if anything, y'all should be listening to Myron, and it's actually worse for Fresh because there's more reasons why the show doesn't really need him.
I don't know you, bro.
You know who I am.
I don't know you, bro.
You don't know me personally. You don't know me
My boy said, Mr. Nigga.
But I remember the Miranda scandal.
Yeah.
I remember.
You remember the Miranda scandal, but you don't remember 15 minutes ago when we told people they need to have an emergency savings. You remember the Miranda scandal, but you don't remember that shit.
I remember Mrs. Cheek.
Nigga, you remember bitches, but you don't remember when I said to have an emergency fund. You remember a bunch of fucking hoes, but you can't remember the important shit.
Yeah, no shit, because that's the basis of your show. What the fuck? Like, come on, bro. Yo, Danny Williams says, I just Googled it, and 5% of Americans have $25K in savings. I guess all those are listening to Fresh and Fit. Yo, that's funny. Yo, you could easily do the Google search. All right. If you don't know the knowledge or have the knowledge, it's because you weren't looking for it, bruh. I'm telling you right now, do the Google search. I'm sure all 5% of Americans, all of America, are not listening to Fresh and Fit. They're probably doing something else with the $25K in their savings, right? It's definitely not being invested with these bozos. I mean, just come on, dog. Like, again, chat, you don't have to listen to me, all right? I'm just a guy on the internet clowning these guys. I don't have any finance degrees or anything like that. But what I am saying is the fucking obvious. I mean, come on. Just do a little Google research, okay? It's not that easy to just have $25K in your savings account. And $25K is the minimum Fresh and Fit thinks you should have, because they don't think that's enough to cover emergencies. Just think about that.
For some weird reason, you're able to remember girls that we fucked, but you're not able to remember that we tell people to have a 30-year fixed loan so they get a good interest rate. Fucking incredible.
And emergency funds as well.
Nigga, this is years ago and you remember that shit, but you don't remember 15 minutes ago when I told this dude 25K is enough.
Sir.
I was also
nigga, what the fuck,
show,
man?
Watch episodes, okay, sir?
Anna Quinn Fitness.
Watch our episodes, sir.
I remember that.
Missy, Mr. Nigga.
This dude remembers girls, right?
Yeah.
But doesn't remember all the real estate stuff that we talked about that literally destroys every single argument and every single concern that you brought.
It's because the girls are what they signed up for your show to begin with. All right. Like, y'all just slip in all this financial stuff so y'all don't look like all you do is talk about is OnlyFans girls. That's it. Okay. But they're not really here for that. Yeah, sure. You're going to get a few people. All right. A few people who are at least liking you guys enough to be able to want to invest more of their time in some of your boring financial shows. Okay. It is what the fuck it is. But again, you sitting there getting mad at them for remembering the size of that woman's booty over the advice you've given them. It's just more reasons why they need to go see a mortgage expert or some kind of actual financial expert versus listening to you two bozos, because even your own audience are clearly distracted. And if they're just taking your real estate advice just off the cuff, basically listening to one of your shows and thinking they're going to be making passive income, they're going to be in for a rude awakening, because if they want to remember any lessons that you've taught them, it ain't gonna be from your financial shows, my boy. It's probably gonna be that big booty Latina one of y'all niggas slept with, okay? So at the end of the day, all that knowledge and courses they paid for amounts to nothing. Just nothing. So are you getting mad at him because he can retain the knowledge? Don't get mad at him. It's how you got him. You got him with the booty. The booty is all he's gonna remember. All the more reasons to not go get a fucking mortgage, all right, from listen to these guys on the internet. Go talk to an expert before you do that, please.
This is wild.
All right, speaking of girls, we have girls waiting in the back.
Yes,
so
we do.
Caller, last questions, whatever. I mean, not questions, but last thoughts.
Well, last thoughts. Well, gentlemen, like I said, I understand it kind of turned heated in the end, but gentlemen, I have the utmost respect for both of you. Fresh, please.
How?
I really need you to run for Congress. Mr. Gaines, I have the utmost respect. You are.
This nigga is serious, bro. How do you have respect for these two bozos? That's how I know he's a fan, though. That's crazy to me.
Are more wise, especially when it comes to dealing with women. You are a lot more wise than I will ever be, probably in 10 lifetimes. So I have no animosity or ill will towards you, gentlemen. And I
bro, just do me a favor. Next time you call in to criticize, please watch the podcast and have this has not just you. 3 or 4 guys have called in today and totally mischaracterized advice that we've given. And
they didn't mischaracterize it. They just said you're oversimplifying it. There's a big difference. They're not mischaracterizing it, because even when you went into detail, you didn't even go into detail. You just oversimplified it. Even Fresh said, hey, well, if your tenants don't play, you pay, kick them out. Simple. It's not simple. It's not simple. It's not easy. Eviction processes are not simple, okay? You got to send the notice, and they got to be able to take the notice, and if they don't, then if they end up getting attorneys, bro, it just could be a complicated mess that can take months. It's not simple, all right? And there are tenants who can just dip out on you like that. There are even tenants that can co-lease people in their room and trying to pocket off of that. And those people, they can ruin your property without you even knowing. Bro, you don't know people at the end of the day. The ultimate thing is, if you're going to take that risk, you need to make sure you're in the position to be able to take that risk. Essentially, have the appetite to stomach the losses, because again, it can get very, very expensive. Now, no one is saying don't go into real estate. Absolutely not. It's just you need to be mindful of the risk, okay? And sometimes the risk for a lot of people is just enough for them to like say, you know what, I'm better just taking this $25,000 I have instead of sinking it into a property that anything could happen, anything can go wrong. I'll just stick it in an index fund. How about that? And get about a good, 3%, 35%, nothing wrong with that, right? And, my money goes up every year, and when I need it, I can take it out, right? Just saying, you'll probably make more money that way and lose less than in real estate. Your 25 G's that they're saying is not enough will be gobbled up like that. Interest rate, taxes, all right, tenants not paying, emergencies, gone. Okay, again, just make sure you're in a position to do so. That's my problem with a lot of these internet gurus, okay? They want to give you advice, make it sound so easy, because at the end of the day, they're not selling the actual work to build and have a passive income property, okay? They're not selling that. They're selling the course. The course is often easier than the work. Just saying.
Try to say that that's what we tell guys to do, and it's quite literally the opposite.
Yeah.
Every single thing that you brought up, we've talked about in detail, explicitly, how to overcome it.
Well, sir, if I go to your on your channel and I go back to your previous videos where you tell people to put 3% down on a house,
that's crazy.
That's not true. You didn't do that. You were telling people to put little to nothing down.
That's even crazier.
Make minimum payment.
Oh my God.
I mean,
caller, we were there. It's ideal to put 20% down, but if you can't,
and you want to get your feet wet, we tell people all the time, if you can't, put the 20% down. That's better. So you don't have to live in it for a year.
It is better.
However, let's be honest. Do regular people have $100,000 sitting around to buy a house? No, they don't. So a lot of the times
they don't have $25,000 sitting around for emergency funds either. What the fuck?
They get their feet wet with an FHA loan.
I put down 20%.
Nigga, you're old.
Nigga, what the fuck?
Nigga, you're old.
What does him being old have to do with it? What does him being old have to do with it? I don't get it.
Nigga, bro, these young people trying to get some money, bro. You're old. I'm
only 2 years older than Mr. Gaines.
Bruh.
Oh! Yo, the sign language knows no bounds. Yo, the sign language, the shaming language knows no bounds. But he's saying, well, the reason why you came up with 20% is because you're old. And guys are like, well, I'm going to be 2 years older than Myron. Yo, hey, listen, the average people, okay, listen, I'm telling you right now, they don't have that kind of money laying around. They just don't, okay? So it doesn't matter if you're old, young. I know old people that can't scrape together fucking $1,000 to put down. All right, I'm just saying, okay? If he has the money, he can invest in real estate. That's fine. But your average audience, and they kind of admitted it here, chat. I mean, we just got to be honest. They did just admit that, right? Most of their average people, like Fresh said, are just trying to get money. If you're just trying to get money, investing in real estate is probably not the best way to start. I'm just being real. Maybe pay off your existing debts, okay, and then start saving. And it's gonna be a long time, okay? Just saying, unless you work hard, and sometimes you gotta grind extra hard, okay? Sometimes it just takes the work, okay? And then hopefully later down the road you can get to that point where you can start taking that 20% and making it work for you. But at the end of the day, if you're young, if you're exactly what Fresh just described, and we just heard it, a young person trying to get money, because he just got done shaming this old guy over here for having 20%, right? If you're a young guy trying to get money, starting in a rental property is probably not the best idea unless you go see a professional and you have at least 20% to put down. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay. Not everybody,
a 20-year-old.
Hold on. Not everybody is a government worker that has a TSP that they could pull a loan against, bro. Like, are you crazy? Yeah. Not everyone has that kind of access to funds, bro, like that they could borrow against a TSP. So since most people don't have that, they got to find another way to get the property and acquire the assets. So they can get it by doing 3 to 5% down, and then we give them a viable way to go ahead and deal with the issues of maybe a higher mortgage or PMI, all this other stuff. And that is by putting tenants in. If they don't have tenants in and they buy a single family home, then they need to live in it for a year and then get out. That's why I heavily advocate guys always get at least a duplex for their first property.
Yo, do you know how hard it is for a first-time buyer to even lock down a duplex? What are you talking about? Again, you're making it sound so easy, bro. It's not that easy. Most FHA's loans, they probably even cover duplexes. And to be honest with you, if y'all are hoping that they would count the other side as rental income, that isn't always often the case. They're not going to look at it and say, oh, you know what? This person is buying a duplex, but we're going to look at it as a split rental property and make sure that the other, because banks have risk assessments too. Okay, they're not going to sit there and assume that that other half is going to be paid by somebody else. To them, you're the one taking the risks because the mortgage is in your name, silly. So they're not, oftentimes, most banks will not count the secondary asset of that duplex as income. They want to make sure that you yourself or whoever's co-signing for you has the income to be able to cover both properties. You will not, it's pretty difficult. FHA loan on a duplex, bro. In most places and regions, it's not as easy to obtain as you're making it seem. Oftentimes, those people are probably going to qualify for single family homes. But again, what, you got to live in that for a year, pay all that money and whatever and stuff like that. If you didn't even have it to begin with, just to move out. And then where are you going to go? You're going to go get another apartment and then pay the rent for that? You know, the apartment is always going to appreciate year after year, right? Some apartments to rent is more expensive than mortgages right now. I'm going to just be real with you. So you're going to leave your house, go rent an apartment just to rent that one house out. How much are you going to rent it for? I mean, like, again, there's so many things to think about. Go seek a professional. Go seek an expert. Yo, shout out to Steve the Dean with the super chat. Shout out to you. Says, respect my dog. Keep telling these me truths. Keep telling me the truths. Take the me pill. Fuck those tricks. Facts. Yo, that's why I say no pills is the name of the game, right? Don't pop any of these pills because you pop the pill, somehow it has a weird effect of making you stupid. So if you don't want to suffer from stupidity, don't pop any of these pills. Just say, yo, shout out to Dwight Baldwin with the $2 super chat. Says, dude, can you help Fresh with his weight loss? Oh, absolutely. But the question is, will I want to? And that's no, because I don't give a fuck about Fresh. Fresh got Myron at the end of the day. And something tells me, Dwight, Fresh doesn't actually want to lose weight. Now, I said it. Yeah. I don't think he wants to lose weight. I think Fresh feels better telling you guys to lose weight, but I don't think he himself wants to lose weight. And any trainer knows that, listen, you got to want it just as much as I want it for you. All right. So if you don't want it for yourself as much as I want it for you, this relationship is not going to work. You're not going to stay fit. Just ask Myron. Why isn't Myron training Fresh no more? Even from when they first started, right? Why isn't he training Fresh anymore? Could it be that maybe something behind the scenes told him that Fresh wasn't really in it? I think so. Honestly, that's my speculation for it. I think Myron probably thought, hey, you know what? This guy isn't as motivated, so we're not doing that. Right? I mean, that's just usually what happens because if Fresh was motivated to get in the gym, trust me, it's not even going to be one of those things where he feels like you're dragging somebody, right? And I feel like that's the case with Fresh when it comes to gyms. You got to drag him to it. Otherwise, he's not going to come willingly. But yeah, bro, getting fit is, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's very simple. Diet. You got to control your diet. Okay. Diet is it's probably the most important thing. I even had to learn that the hard way years ago where I was like, yo, why is it so hard for me to even gain weight? Like, this is crazy. Why is it so hard for me to even lose weight when I want to, right? It's because your diet has to be tuned. If your diet's not tuned, it's going to be tough. And some people, when it comes to fixing their diet, bro, they'll fight you. Someone will straight up kill you. Just, you don't know. People's diets are their lives for some reason, bro. Super Herrera, shout out to you for the 2, says, just came in. What's up, chat? What's up to you? Welcome to the show. We just kind of getting started here. We're about to have the call-in portion. So, hey, yo, I don't play games. If you want to go ahead and hit that link, bro, before I post the main one, jump in right now. Let's have a conversation.
That's why I tell people most of the time to stay away from single-family homes if they can.
All right, caller, man. It was nice
Well, Mr. Gaines, hold on.
Please,
Just last thing.
All right, go ahead, man.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead,
Mr.
man.
Gaines,
Go ahead.
Mr. Gaines, if you don't mind.
Mr. Gates.
If you don't mind,
Mr. Gaines.
Mr. Gaines.
This dude trolling, bro. At this
Yes,
point,
bro.
this is trolling,
We
bro.
gotta go, man.
Please
We gotta
do
go.
a breakdown. Have an episode. Have
All right,
another
Mo, hang on the phone,
real
man.
estate episode.
I did
Yo,
bro. You know how many real estate episodes we've done?
multiple.
All right, it's fine, bro. Just send them to Super Chat, man.
Yo, that's freaking hilarious, man. That's hilarious, bro. I think here's what I see about this. Okay, I see two completely different perspectives. One that's going over the other person's head, right? Because Myron saying, "Well, I've talked about it, yeah." But just because you talk about it doesn't mean you've gone over the potential risks and the potential pitfalls that people can go through when going through one of these overly simplified cash flow real estate systems that you're promoting out there. Okay, it's not that simple. No one's saying it's not a bad thing to promote it. By all means, do what you're doing right now. I'm just saying you need to talk about the risks. That's very important because your audience could be stupid. I mean, you call them stupid all the time when they call in. So yeah, if they're that stupid and the last thing they can remember isn't your real estate advice, but the size of the booty of the Latina Fresh was flirting with, well, guess what? It probably means you need to be extra careful when giving these guys, these particular people, okay, these brain damaged incels, some of them, all right, and you got to be careful when you're giving them financial advice because oftentimes you've already proved their attention span isn't there. So some of them might take your advice and go off and do something completely stupid. And then guess what? Now they're stuck in a 30-year loan that it's going to be tough figuring out how to pay off because they're in a market where people don't want to come in and live or, people are leaving. All right. All sorts of things can happen. So the takeaway before we get into the call-in portion is don't take advice from influencers online. Okay. There's almost always an expert, especially one of these financial things, somewhere near you. You just have to look. All right. It's easy. Just one Google search. That's all you got to do. All right. So now we got to hear from one of the callers that called up with Fresh and Fish show. Okay. And then we're going to open the lines up to everybody else. Okay. So it's a call-in show. If you guys want to get in here, when the link's pinned, go ahead and get in here and let's have a conversation. But we're going to go over to one of the callers of Fresh and Fish show. And we're going to go over the last call he had where he didn't believe that Myron and Fresh were black, okay? And I want to get their perspective on what the hell was going on that conversation. So I don't play games. Shout out to you. Welcome to the chat.
What's going on?
What's going on? You sound far away.
Okay, well, I'm in my truck right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Let's see if I can take this Bluetooth off. Can you hear me?
Oh, that's much better.
Yeah.
All right, so you're the caller that called. We were calling out Fresh and Fit for not being black, right?
Yeah.
That was you. All right, so walk me through your reasoning behind that, where you were coming from, because I think that there was something you were trying to get across, but you couldn't quite get it across, and then obviously dealing with the gaslighting games these guys play. It's not totally 100%, right? So walk me through what you were thinking about with that.
Well, I was thinking about was one thing they do is they'll sit up there and talk about black people, but they won't ever talk about the people that they actually come from. Like they don't talk about Sudanese people. You don't ever see Fresh talking about Bayesian people. And my thing is, like you said in your in the live stream that I saw, is they only want to be black when it's convenient for them. That's really what I was trying to get at. It's
so
like,
what how do those let me ask you this before we even get further into it, right? Are you a fan of Fresh and Fit? And we don't care if you are. We got tons of their fans in our chat, so I mean it's fine. Where do they stand with you?
Like sometimes I'm on the fence with these guys. Right now, nah, not really. But even when I was a fan with these guys, I'm always objective and I'm always talking shit to them if they're wrong. Like if you watch that Abba and Preach video when they was doing the sus stuff.
Okay.
My name, Goku the Goat. It was for Rumble.
Yeah, it
was in the video. And I told him he did some gay shit. Like I call it out. Yeah, it's not like I'm a fan, but I'm gonna sit up there and be fair. Like some of this stuff.
That's the one thing we say too as well. Like, listen, like people think just because we talk about it means we hate it. We actually don't care about them as much as people think. But again, we do have people who are their fans because I've always talked about how, and you're not the first one too. You're just actually bold enough to even call in on this show to even say that. But like a lot of the Fresh and Fit fans, I get emails from. So they email me. They're still telling me they're fans of the show and whatnot, but there are a lot of valid points in my criticisms to them just because they do notice things. So it's on one of those things where do you see a lot of the people in their fan base who have similar mentalities to yours? Is it kind of like an awakening moment, or have they always had this kind of, opinions about Fresh and Fit? Their calling show just gave them a reason to, get that out there.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got Abba and Preach, you got other channels that call them out on their bullshit. And yeah, they get it in the chat all the time. So it's like we're being real, but at the same time, it's even if we try to respect them in the call, they'll still disrespect you anyway.
Yeah, like we talk about that a lot.
Yeah. So I mean, when they realize that these guys don't give a fuck about them, they're gonna stop. And Myron's gonna cry again. Fresh is gonna pretend not to laugh. It's all, it's all that other stuff. But my thing is this with them. He said that they make jokes about every race.
Mm-hmm.
I will personally never do this, but I never heard Myron talking about any drone strike jokes. You know what I'm saying? I would never do it. But he's saying that racism is funny. So where's that joke at?
Well, I mean, with these guys, it's always free speech until you talk about something they care about, right? That's how that usually works. So
copyright strikes,
yeah. I mean, they tried to strike down our channel. Like, I think it was like 9 or 10 of our videos. They actually would have gotten rid of us if it wasn't for them doing it to Abba and some of these other guys first. And that way that got YouTube to think like, hey, these might be false claims. But that's essentially what it was. They almost took down the channel because again, when you criticize this stuff, they don't like it. Okay, they get butthurt. I know they watch this channel too, so
yeah,
they might not like you after this. I'm just like right now,
dude. They don't even like me now. Like I put in a chat and they didn't read it. They don't fuck with me. They're mad because when I did that, they were pissed off. This dude Myron was asking me where I lived and all that shit. Like he's mad. Like they're legitimately mad.
That's crazy.
Like if you,
let me ask you this question: how do these call-in shows actually work? Okay, what do you got to walk me through the process? What you got to do to call in?
Oh, basically, they start the show. There's a number like at the bottom of the video, not at the bottom of the video, but at the corner of the screen. You can see it. You just buy a chat in Rumble. You put however much.
What do you mean buy a chat? What does that mean?
Buy. It's like
I'm
YouTube.
retarded on this. All right, so like, let me know how that all works. I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know what buying a chart means or whatever. So you got to pay money in order to talk to them. Is that what you're saying?
Like it's like how I send you something on, so you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same shit.
So you send a super chat.
Yeah, super chat. Yeah,
that's the only thing that qualifies. So okay,
and then you put the last 4 digits of your number on the super chat.
Okay, so
is then it's
a certain amount in super chats that they will look at for the calls? Because I mean, if I super chat like $2 or 99 cents,
yeah, bro, right? I put in 10. I put in 10 or 20, and I know fucking 50 or 100. That's some.
So on average, really love $20 to get in one of those calls.
Like 10 or $20. Yeah.
So people paying for getting disrespected. That's wild to me.
Right.
That's wild to me. So why do you think in your book that they didn't take your claims seriously when you were talking about?
No, they did take it seriously.
Okay, you're saying I didn't think they took it seriously.
I think so. And here is why. Remember when I said that Fresh was Barbadian?
Bajan, yeah.
Then he said that, right?
Yeah.
That's the end of the debate. Right there. Like, you're not black. You're what you just said you were.
Okay. So
what I'm saying? So they know.
So have you always felt this way about Fresh and Fit with that? Like with them not being black and is this like a recent development with that? And if it is a recent development, how did you start coming to that?
Well, because when I first started watching Fresh and Fit, he was saying that he was, Myron was saying that he was black, and I was like, He don't even look black. And this is before he had waves. He had that big ass bald spot on the top of his head. So I'm like, his hair's not really curly. He looks like he's like Indian or Arabic. I don't see it. But then when he said he's Sudanese, I was like, oh, that's why he be talking the way he do. And I was just like, yeah, Fresh. He said he's from Barbados. I mean,
but yeah, I mean, you can't tell it based off of looks alone. I mean, because I know tons of guys that look kind of like Myron, exactly like Myron. They're as black as they can be. So again, it can't just be based off of looks, right? Now, here's the point.
It's how he talks too.
Yeah, how he talks, right? You can say that because
because
folks aren't right. No, you're absolutely right. But my thing is right. I think the argument you should have went with this one was the culture aspect, right?
I did.
Right, but they weren't because But here's the thing:
they ignored me.
No. Even if you did try, you didn't bring it back to the culture thing, right? Because even when I watched it didn't seem like because if you had a direct focus on that, it would be difficult for them to try to sway you because again they were still making an argument, which is easy to use, right? They can say, hey, we're all from Africa, which is true. A lot of us did originate from Africa, so they can use that origin story for you. What you're trying to say culture wise is they're not Black Americans or Americans, right? I mean, that's essentially what you're trying to make of it because they have a Sudanese culture and a Bayesian culture that they're bringing with us, mixed with a little bit of American culture, right? And that's an argument you could have went on, right? You can even said, "Hey, Fresh, you a culture vulture, bro? Because look at you out here culturally appropriating." Y'all niggas are culturally appropriate. Listen, there's so many arguments. That was my main disagreements with you. Was it seemed as though during that, and maybe I did miss it. I don't know, but it seemed like during that conversation we're making with them, it was easier for them to make the "we're all from Africa, where do black people? Where do you think black people come from?" argument, which is a harder argument for you to dismantle versus saying your culture is different from ours. That's why it's easier for guys like you to let people like Zerka come in and just disrespect black folks versus someone who is born in America who has to go through a lot of that stuff versus you guys immigrating here. Well, they went through a completely different experience and they probably have a lot more pride versus you guys, right? And it's a harder argument for them to basically dismiss because then they have to take the cultural experiences into consideration, right? So that was my only main disagreement, though. It was just hilarious how that whole shit played out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: those guys, they know they're not black. They know it. They just like I said, like you said earlier, they just use black to hide their racist shit. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, we know that Myron didn't grew up like a black dude. He was around a bunch of weird ass homosexual white boys.
I didn't know that guy was actually gay. I had no idea he was actually gay.
Bro.
So when somebody
told that shit, I was on that call too. I was in that video.
Did you call him out for that?
When I was talking about the Dragon Ball Z stuff, and then I went
into shit, you're the Goku guy. Oh
yeah, that was me.
Oh yeah, that stream was hilarious,
bro. So
that was hilarious. Okay, now I remember. Oh, it's all coming together now. Okay,
yeah. So I was only commenting on the Dragon Ball Z shit. Obviously, I'm a Dragon Ball Z fan. I just didn't like how he was.
I gotta ask. Hold on. I gotta ask a question about that because it seems because this is one thing I called out on that specific live stream because it's like they seem to try to make fun of people who like anime, but then they themselves get involved with anime. So
dude did an 8-hour live stream.
How does that make you feel? Like, I mean, I'd feel pretty. I'd call them. I feel like I want to call them out if they reference anime a lot, and then here you are loving anime, and they're trying to clown you for it.
They see that's the thing. Even with the other subject, we just came on with the black or not. What they try to do, and then I'll say with the black one, what they would try to do is, oh, you've been online for 3 hours. You were waiting for 3 hours. I was like, dude, I only waited for an hour.
Yeah.
You donated thousands of dollars to the show. You did all of this. If you donated $1,000, why you watch us or something like that? And I was like, dude, crazy. I never donated $1,000. Why are you fucking lying? They say
like, how you gonna shame somebody with the money? How you gonna shame me with the money I gave you? That don't make any sense.
And I'm a supporter.
That don't. Arrogant to the roof, bro.
That's
like,
what I'm
how
saying.
You shaming me for giving you bread? You what? Yo, that's wild to me, dog.
Yeah, but he said that shit to make me look bad, so it makes because they instead of deflect and they'll just do that shit to make you look bad. Well, with this anime thing I was talking about, this nigga did an 8-hour live stream about Dragon Ball Z. He did an 8-hour. That's a whole work shift. What the fuck?
That's crazy. Listen,
I just disagreed. I just disagree with what he said with the Dragon Ball Z shit.
I anime, like I watch it. I mean, I'm pretty much entry level to the anime stuff. Like I Attack on Titan is pretty entry level, so I don't know any in-depth shit like Naruto and maybe Dragon Ball Z, but that's pretty much it. But like again, like it's not wrong with that, but you're never gonna catch me shaming an audience member for liking the same thing and trying to use that as a way to, you know, belittle them or do some kind of weird shit, right? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, he did that because of the points that I was making about Vegeta. He couldn't say anything.
What was that point you were making again? Do you remember?
I was just saying like Vegeta is a bitch. Like you pretty much got punked by Goku. Nigga watched his son die, and he didn't do nothing to sell but get in the way. I was just saying hella shit. I just went off on them. They were laughing. I was laughing too. I was just being funny. But then when he tried to make me look bad, that's when I brought up the gay shit. Because I knew that he was gonna do that shit, bro. I knew it. There's a picture of Myron sitting down on a toilet with shaving cream around his mouth, and his friend is like right in front of him, but he's eye level to his penis. And he had a big ass smile on his face, bro. You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this shit up, bro.
Listen, that's why we call Myron sus, dog. I mean,
bro.
Let me ask you this before we because we gotta get to the next callers here.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you this here, all right? Because I know again, we're not gonna stop people from watching it. That's not our goal here, or anything like that. So obviously, people are still. There'll be a lot of people who listen to our criticism, even people who email me, right? They're still gonna watch them, right? But what would you say as someone who's still kind of a supporter, but it's on that tight rope? What would you say to them? Like, what kind of things would you say to them? Right now, if they're watching, because they are watching. So, like, what would you say to them in terms of improvements or what you would like to see from them or things like that, right? Or your actual intentions or things like that, right? Let me just let you go off with that.
Okay, you talking about intentions on watching the show?
Like, with how to explain this? So, with the people who are watching the shows that are in similar positions to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to tell them about, like, okay, like Fresh and Fit, right? In terms of what they should, the lessons they should take from it. Not necessarily lessons, because they don't really teach lessons, but what takeaway should they take from watching their shows? It's probably the easiest way I can tell.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, I don't know why I just went through that crazy thing.
It's all good. Watch them for entertainment. Don't donate. Yeah. If you're gonna watch them, but don't donate. Don't support them. Don't buy their courses. They're scammers. Not for real. They're scammers. They don't give a fuck about you. Even if you respect them when you calling them online, they still gonna talk shit. They don't give a fuck about you. They treat you like the bitches on OnlyFans treat the dudes that subscribe to them. Wow. My bad.
Yo, no. You're right though, because we say that about the fans. They managed to do the impossible, make dudes pay for them like dudes pay for OnlyFans right now. So the fact that you are admitting that's crazy to me.
Yeah, you better off subscribing to a girl's OnlyFans than subscribing to them.
Hey, yo.
I'm not on the OnlyFans. I'm just saying, if you're gonna do it,
you do know that's the pipeline, right? I hope you know that.
Oh yeah,
because you got to think about the benefits, right? A lot of people think, what's in it for me, right? So again, you got to think, if you're a smart person, what are these OnlyFans girls getting out of it? All right,
that was brilliant. That was brilliant breaking that down. Yeah,
you could just say, hey, either Fresh and Fit are paying these OnlyFans girls to be there. Then in that case, they're paying and essentially renting women for their show, which they'll never admit to, if that's true. Or B, these women are making the money on the back end, which means the clout that's generated from their presence being there means the people are going to subscribe, giving them money on the back end. So it goes one or two different ways. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Otherwise, the girls themselves wouldn't even show up because the podcast is that lame. I mean, who wants to show up? We're not benefiting just to get berated by someone like Myron, for example.
Yeah.
Right? So
even again, the rappers leave easy. Like they leave like quick because the shit is boring. They do the same shit. If you watch the Michael Blackson episode, he was bored out of his goddamn mind.
Yeah.
So, they're boring. They do the same shit over and over again. There's really no point in watching them. They get played out after a month of you watching them. No, seriously.
Hey, listen, I appreciate you, man. Hey, shout out to you. We're gonna get to the next caller here, but I wanted to give you the first run at it. Shout out to you for being up here. I mean, most fresh and fit guys, they'll just talk shit in the chat, but at least you're here, you're talking about it, and you're airing out your grievances. So they're watching, so hopefully they'll listen. But I highly doubt it. Just being honest.
Yeah, much respect to you, Dukendon. I like what you're doing, and you're calling out the bullshit. I mess with it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Let's get the Super Herrera. Super Herrera, shout out to you. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you, man. And by the way, you are not a fresh and fit stand, so I'm just gonna lay it out there right now.
Okay. I think that's obvious. I'm not a big fan of it. I wanted more to talk to the caller who was there, because this is a problem that I have every time with Americans. Like, when they say you're not black, okay, I can say Myron is not black because I'm from Africa. Mm-hmm. I know that these Sudanese, they don't call themselves black; they call themselves Arab. Mm-hmm. If Myron was in Africa, he wouldn't call himself black; he would call himself Arab. But Fresh is black. I live in Sweden; they call me black. Go to the people, even what's his name, King Pittance. He's black. If you go to UK, he's black. So that's the dangerous term to say you're not black. Say you're not of the culture. That's a different statement. But when you say you're not black, then you kind of lose a lot of people, because we black in Africa, we call ourselves black. So that's a dangerous term. You see, that's all. So I wanted to talk to him. That's why I called in. I wanted to just point that out to him.
Yeah, I definitely understand. I understand where you're coming from with that. No, that makes sense. My thing is just, again, because you even noticed, even like during the conversation, I was like, I even said like Black Americans, but I also said Americans.
Yeah, you even pointed out.
Yeah, because it's Americans, right? We're all Americans. So that's why I would much rather have us have the culture argument versus the skin color argument, because the skin color argument is just it's oversimplified. And shout out to the brother because he tried. But no. It's better to make the culture argument, because the culture argument is different, because he could definitely stand 10 toes and say, hey, your Sudanese experience in Sudan is definitely different from my American upbringing. For instance, even in your household, let's say even if you come to America with your parents, right, your household is going to be run a lot differently than an average American Black or American teenager household. It's going to be different, right? That's just how it is, because the culture is different. Even because I know, because that's how I was growing up. Nigerian, I'm in America, but in the household we said elements of our culture that was being raised with. Now I did have American, I did get Americanized at the end of the day, but there's certain things that still has that culture line. That's why when it comes to like Black issues here in America, I try to like support Black Americans, but other than that, I don't like get in the way and saying, hey, like a go full Anton Daniels, like, oh, you don't deserve anything like that, because I at the end of the day, your struggle wasn't mine, but I will support it, right? Because you need the same skin color. Because you're right, in Sweden they'll call you Black. In America, I'm Black. I'm not Nigerian. They're Black guy, right? In Sweden, you're a Black guy. It's different, right? So again, we gotta make sure that we're very cognizant of that and other people's experiences. That's why I'm always in support of my Black brothers. I'm not out here to get reparations. I don't care about that. But if that's what Black folks want, and I see other races have gotten their fair share, are you damn right I'm gonna stand behind you, because it's about time you get your due, right? So that's my feelings on it. But like, I do agree. I think it's important to make the cultural argument versus the skin color one. The skin color is only skin deep. That's not that deep.
And I don't want to make it political, but I think it's time that we get over that we have to have a collect. Like other races, when something happens to one of them, when something happens in America, when something happens in UK, the Jews they gather, the Chinese they gather. We have to have the same kind of mentality. We can't point each other out and say, you not my kind of Black, you not my kind of Black. We have to have a collective mindset at some point of time.
Yeah. But that's the problem, though, because to have that, you got to understand that Black Americans themselves, because, like, again, when you're pointing out all these other ethnic groups, to a certain degree, there's there's a certain level of culture that comes with it, right? So, like, especially with the Hispanics, even growing up, right? Hispanics and Asians, I think Hmong is the other one, right? Where, like, they would come in and it's like they help each other out, right? So for 1 minute, you'll see this like 12, 13 different family members in one house, right? And the next minute, they got the next house right next door or the next apartment, right? Next minute, they got the whole freaking block, right? And it's because they're hooking each other up with that. They're sharing the opportunities. It's a little different because Black American culture is American culture. It's individualistic, right? So it's like, it's me, me, me. I gotta get mine. I gotta shine. People don't think that's, because some people will see that, oh, it's a rap and Black. No, it's a unique American culture. Everyone is individualistic. It's all about me. They don't think about the community. So even when you're down to your own group where you're just a bunch of Black folks trying to help each other, a lot of times people are going to be looking out for, well, what's in it for me, right? And that it's not to like help each other at the end of the day. So it's one of those things that's gonna have to be instilled. It's difficult. Where to start, I don't know, right? It's sure as hell not going to be in the music or anything like that, but
no,
that's one of those things that we do have to be cognizant of that. But whatever the Black leaders are who can help that, I think it's our job just to help us stand behind them, make sure that it's all doing well. But yeah, it's one of those things that it does suck, but cultural differences does play a role in that.
I will say now. I just wanted to keep cooking these people. They're crazy, but I just wanted to point out to this brother, like, come on, man, we all Black.
Yeah.
But fresh and fit deserve to be cooked and roasted and reboiled and I don't know. Until they're done.
You can't grift off. You can't grift off Black Americans. The one thing I understand, even just speaking as a Nigerian man, like when I started this channel, a lot of the supporters I got, were Black Americans, and so and over time we started getting a lot of Nigerian supporters and whatnot, because I would talk about like my heritage and where I come from, so whatnot. So Black Nigerian supporters and even Hispanic supporters too as well. So it's one later on down the road, but it's one of those things where you start to see that. One thing I understand is Black folks will support you, especially if they look at you and say, "Oh, this is a brother who's trying to do something." They will support you, and they'll give you that love. And that's why I always criticize this on my show when I see guys like Anton Daniels, or I see some of these other guys like even Fresh and Fit, where a lot of times Black folks do support their channels. Even look at Saint the Sinner. A lot of these guys are Black folks that have come in and support, because a lot of, contrary to what a lot of people think, a lot of Black folks, when they see other Black folks doing something, they do support. Like, people don't say that. Like, that's why I don't agree with the narrative saying, "Oh, Black folks are they don't want to help each other out and whatnot." That is not true. That's why my perspective is so different, right? Because I see the level of help. Even before they knew who I was, they supported me. So again, when you see these other podcasters and platforms simply just turn their backs on the people that supported them, that's the one thing that's shocking to me. Because then you look at someone like Fresh and Fit, and they'll start saying all this racist shit. Like, you gonna put on a fucking Klan mask? Really? You put a Klan mask on? You could have thought of anything else, but you decided to go with the Klan mask. Really? How much of a slap in the face to your supporters do you want to give them? Just tell me that, right? So it's just one of those things where they obviously never cared about the support, right? They're the ones that look at Black support and say, yeah, it's kind of like the liberals or lefties, like they like to complain about, "Oh, Joe Biden is using you. He's using you. What the fuck do you think you're doing?" I just can't stand it.
No, you brought something up that is very interesting to me, because we do that now as Black people, and it's not only in America. That don't snitch. Like, we protect us as Black people. We protect each other when we do bad shit.
Yeah.
And we don't we promote each other, like what you're saying, like Anton Daniels and what's his name, Saint the Sinner. Like, what are we doing?
There are people who allow, because again, it's the culture of America is individualism, right? And capitalism facilitates that, right? Because once you get into a different social class, and through capitalism, because it is your medium to climb the ladder, right? Then all of a sudden you start to feel a little bit different. Because when I exposed Anton Daniels, I exposed an old clip of Anton when he started YouTube, when he was broke, and you can clearly see he was broke, right? Talking about money isn't the root of all, money is the root of all evil, money isn't everything, all this stuff. I rather value character than money. And then Anton, after he got Patreon rich, all of a sudden Yeah, I got my Porsche, and trust me, if you ain't got the land, you ain't got the new watch, you ain't got the new thing, you see what I'm saying? All of a sudden, they're trying to act like they're above it. It's like it's a unique phenomenon that happens to Americans, okay? And again, you can say black folks, but it's an American culture because it is. It's baked into the system. People don't realize that. But once you start climbing those ladders, you don't even look at your own people like the same no more. It's actually the same tool they used to separate poor whites, all right, from how close they were with white folks, right? Because as the poor whites all of a sudden got reclassified and now they were a little bit richer, all of a sudden they're looking down at the same people they used to work in the fields with, because again, they did work in those fields alongside the slaves. They're like, oh shit, we're better than y'all. What? no, y'all some field Negroes over there. You stay over there. It's because they started separating the class. Again, I'm not saying capitalism is bad. I'm not doing any of that. I'm sorry, to a certain extent, but you gotta put the stuff in there. My bad.
Sorry for interjecting, but that's where that term comes from, white trash. It's not black people who coined that term. It's other white people. They call the other people trash, white trash. So it is what it is. But I think we are worse because we protect people who do bad shit. White people, when somebody is fucking up, they throw their trash out. We protect our trash.
You're right. It's because we don't. I can go. I could go into detail to break that down, but it's one of those things where it comes down to psychology, right? Think about it. The best example I can give you is O.J. Simpson. Now, most people, most black folks, they know. No, but it's like the best example. Otherwise, I can't even
No, I feel you.
It's the you call it the O.J. Simpson effect. Like some of us, we look at the evidence and like, that nigga probably did it. But you know what? Fuck them white people, anyways. We gonna protect them. It's that kind of mentality, right? Because at the end of the day, it's kind of what. Because in the way the perspective we're coming from is, listen, we've watched you guys get away because you guys have been running the system. You got away with so much trash, so much atrocities against black folks, and now we finally have a chance to keep
you got some of it.
Exactly, because we've watched 10 times out of 10 times how the system has done no justice to the people who benefited from it at that point in time. So again, when it comes down to public criticism of black folks in modern media now, right, whenever you see that, it's that same mentality that jumps in, because it's like, yo, no, it's not that at all. It's got to be the other thing. So it makes it hard for us to look in the mirror, and that's tough. But it's one of those things where, as someone like Anton, it's not your job to come in and say, "Hey, you stop doing this and pick yourself up by the bootstrap." That's the last thing you want to do. You want to understand the basis of where the problem is coming from, and a lot of conservatives, they don't want to see it that way, because again, looking at the root of the problem, no way. What are you going to tell me? Mental illness is a big thing. Mental illness is okay. Like a lot of it's again. We can get into
it. But the term conservative also is abused, because basically it's become a political term. It means Republican, because a lot of black people are conservative culturally.
Yeah.
And when the Republicans, it becomes. Go ahead.
Calling people Republicans instead of conservatives would probably be the best way to go. But you got to understand, like the other side, let's say the far left, they're going to label everything else, even if it's going to be mislabeled, by the way. And I agree with you, right? Because even the word liberal, people associate with far left, and it's not the case, right? People don't understand. Being a liberal and being far left is progressive is completely different, right? But a lot of times conservatives will classify everything that isn't conservative as liberal, far left, and they put that in the same classification. Versus and the left wingers would do the same thing. Anything remotely Republican or anything like that, they overclassify it to alt-right or anything like that. Matter of fact, anything is getting called alt-right these days, right? So is that overuse by both sides that is gonna not only cause further divide, but it will cheapen the meaning of any of these terms anyway. So that's my main.
I'll tell you something. Okay, maybe that will not be relevant to your audience, but I think you have a worldwide audience. I'm here in Sweden. What you people call liberals, our right wings will call it right wing.
I know.
You know,
People don't know that. Liberals are
it's insane. What's happening in America is insane. When we look from the outside, looking at what you people doing, it's insane.
Yeah,
we are scared because you also are the biggest power. You can, and you affect how things happen around the world, and it's scary because you are fucking around. Sorry for my French, but hope I don't talk about your channel.
Right. No, you're right. It's just how they're doing it right now, and it's tough, because that's like it's weird to even put it in this phrase, but we're that crazy bipolar kid on a playground with a fuck ton of cash, right? That's essentially and fighting power. That's what we are, right? Because the reason why is our election cycles. 4 years we got one policy. The next 4 years, if somebody else gets in, they completely wipe out the last guy's policy and institute a new one or whatever it is, right? So the rest of the world looking at it like, okay, ping pong. This person's gonna be here, we're going to be leaning this way one moment, and next year we're going to be leaning this way the next moment. So yeah, it's pretty wild how it's all set up. I definitely think presidential terms should be a lot longer, especially how the landscape is changing. It sounds crazy, but I do think
I think you're correct, but
the ability of our allies around us, we definitely need to have longer terms for presidency instead of like 4-year terms. I think it should be 8-year cycles. Like it sounds crazy, but yeah.
I think it should be 10-year term, but one term.
10-year, one term. That's also another. That's another a good idea too as well. I just think these 4-year terms, it might have worked 200 years ago, but in modern times right now, where everyone else is autocratic and they're because what happens is it opens us up to get played like chumps. Because for instance, Russia, they can play a long game. China can play the long game. Iran can play the long game. What these countries have that we don't have is time, right? So they can sit back and watch us go back and forth between the rest, left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, and completely dissolve ourselves from within, while their policies have a longer time horizon and it's more calculated over time, and it's all walking towards policy while we're bouncing around. And this left-right dynamic also causes further schisms between the political discourse space. So people might say I'm wrong that, hey, people are in power long enough. We don't need a longer terms. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. I'm not a political science major like Sus Marquardt, so get off of me. But
I'm sorry, Don. I'm sorry, Don, because you see what happened here. We're talking about a whole different issue, but it was about them crazy Negroes, fresh and fit. But we went off topic. I'm sorry, but respect to you. I love what you're doing. Keep cooking those people. They have to be thrown they have to be thrown to the trash. I'll tell you just a little backstory. How I found you. My kids, I'm quite old. I'm in my 40s. But my kids started watching Andrew Tate. And at that time, that's when you started cooking Andrew Tate and Fresh and Fit. And I was like, okay, I gave them an alternative to look at.
I shout out to you. I appreciate that.
Because you don't know how impressionable kids are. Like that macho, kids, they eat that up.
Yeah.
That macho bullshit.
Yeah.
So, but now they laugh at it. But that's how I got tuned onto you, and I've been a follower since.
Bro, shout out to you. That means a lot to me. Even coming here and speaking to me, that means a lot to me too, bro.
Yeah, man. One love.
I'm gonna have more of these call-in shows, but yeah, shout out to you, man. I should have more of these shows, moving forward. But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Respect.
I'm gonna catch you on next one. Let's bring Isaiah on here. Isaiah 3, shout out to you. Welcome to the show.
What's up, man?
Yeah. I saw you backstage. My bad, dude. But yeah, call in again when we do another call-in show. But go ahead, shout out to you. Go ahead, Isaiah.
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, bro.
Yeah, bro. My biggest issue with these guys is that their points just contradict themselves so much that it's mind-numbing. Like, there was a caller that called in, I think it was a week or two ago, and he was basically trying to tell guys that, like, hey, it's okay to be average, and that it doesn't make you less of a man. And then, of course, Myron and Fresh, they moved the goalpost, and they're basically saying that, oh, you're one of these guys, you want to keep dudes down and blah, blah. It's like, bro, that's literally not what he was saying.
Yeah.
And then the guy was trying to tell Myron, he's like, or tell Fresh, he's like, dude, like, if you just walk outside, you'll see that there are average guys getting with average women. And then, Fresh was like, he was trying to tell guys that, like, you're telling guys to be high value and all this, but like most of them aren't going to make it. And Fresh was like, oh, well, how do you know, bro? And it's like, dude, it's literally economically, statistically impossible.
That's such a childish point. It's not even funny. I'm like, how do you know, bro? It's like, because statistics.
Well, bro, it's just like, it's equivalent.
Not a lot of people are high value, bro.
Well, it's equivalent. It's equivalent to me going up to a D1 player and saying like, "Hey, bro, you're probably not gonna go play professional ball." Is that being doom and gloom, or is that being realistic?
Yeah.
Like, professional, like college athletes, they work hard. They don't all make it. So it's like, I don't understand why these guys
went through in high school and college that put their bodies on the line. I mean, if you don't think college football is competitive, it is competitive, bro. They put their bodies on the line. Some of them even go through like off these Canadian leagues or football leagues, and just to not even make it, and now you brutalize your body. It's a lot of sacrifice people make.
Well, I just think too that, like, if you ever notice, they pick and choose when it's convenient to them, when they want to like enforce a red pill shit. So it's like, when it comes to the women, they'll tell them that like, oh, the exceptions don't make the rule. But then for the men, you compare men who make $300K, the average men, when those guys are the exception to the rule. So it's like, what are we doing here? And then when you try to call them out on this, they want to backpedal and pretend like they didn't say it when they said it. Like the caller was saying, like you're telling, like the caller was saying to Myron, like, hey man, you're telling guys that, if you're not in the top 20%, then it's basically over. And he's like, oh, that's not what I said at all. It's like, dude, that's basically what you imply every like talk show.
Yeah, they just find, and this is one thing, the things I call out is the dismissal, the gaslighting, and the shaming, right? Because that's like the cycle they go through with almost every caller that airs out something like that's legitimate. And it's not, I don't get the vibe of these callers trying to like hate on them, and even though they classify them as haters, it seems like even the I don't play games that we were just talking to earlier, right? He is still a fan. He just wants to see them do better or not be as hypocritical. So I just feel like it's arrogant for them to just treat all these guys that are paying money, because that's part of the process, super chat to get a call, right? And to just disrespect them like that if they're trying to be constructive to you. So it's just weird to me the way to treat their fans. But someone always told me, you can always judge a person based on how they treat people they think that is below them.
Well, it's not like, it's not the fact that what they say is technically wrong. It's more so from the fact that they go to the extremes with things to justify their points. So it's like you and I can both agree that women want high value men, but the problem is we can say that high value is subjective to where you are and what type of woman you're going after. But if you ask Fresh and Myron, they'll say that, oh no, you have to be 6 foot, 6 figures, have all these followers on Instagram and all this other material.
I'll tell you one better. Remember when Sneeko and Destiny was clowning Rolo? What was the main question they asked and Rolo couldn't answer? What the fuck does high value mean? So even when you're saying it's subjective, you're absolutely right, because they themselves couldn't even give a value. Mr. Red Pill Godfather over here couldn't even answer the damn question. What's a high value man? Well, it could be a poor boy who's in shape, or it could be a high value guy who's super wealthy. Okay, which one is it? Because the poor boy's broke, but if he's fucking your bitch and you're a rich guy, is he high value? So are broke niggas winning? Like, should we strive to be broke? Like, what's the point? Like, again, you see what I'm saying? When you start to break all this shit down, it doesn't make any sense, because again, on one hand, a high value guy is someone who fucks a lot and is in shape, and the next minute is someone who makes a lot of money. All right, okay, well, if the woman wants to be with a guy that has a lot of money but ends up fucking the pool boy, it seems like the pool boy's winning. I'd rather just go work out, not make as much money, and go clean pools out all day, because I know I'm getting your wife. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, it's just so weird, bro.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of the guys they're talking to, they don't have any life experience with women or life in general. And so, like, guys who actually, like, get women or have somewhat, like, successful women don't listen to this type of stuff. And they don't, like, they understand that you don't need all these things in order to attract a woman. And so, like, I don't know if you actually, like, went back and watched the podcast when they had Destiny on, but it kind of highlights all their contradictions that they say, because I know one thing that Destiny pointed out, and he called this out sooner, is that they give advice that doesn't apply to majority of men.
Boom.
And then they try to deflect it, and they try to deflect it and say that, oh well, so you're saying that they do the same thing with callers. They said, oh, so you're saying that men shouldn't self-improve, and he said that's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the example we just watched, that's what we're doing, right? They got called out for oversimplifying the risk that comes with owning real estate properties, right? And these guys, what is the main thing they do? Oh, so you're saying that you know, we're not helping guys get you know, we told them not that $25,000 is too much, right? But we also give you the facts. We tell you that it you know, you have to have emergency funds. Yeah, telling someone they have to have emergency funds isn't the same as them trying to acquire said emergency funds, especially if the average guys you're talking to. I mean, $25,000 is just beyond reach. First of all, how are they going to have $25,000 in emergency funds if they can't even afford a 5% down payment to put out? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's just dumb.
I just think it's funny when they bring girls on the show, and it's like they say that women aren't smart and that they're not logical, or like they say pay attention to what women do, not what they say. But then when it comes to their preferences in men, then that's when they want to take it serious. But it's like, okay, well, if you know women don't understand how money works for the most part, why are you saying that? Oh, well, you need to make $200K in order to get with women. It's like you literally just contradict your whole points.
Exactly. It's one of those things where it's like, I'd say I advocate for truth in advertising when it comes to pill popping spaces, because again, they're giving you the happy ever after version of it, right? They're not giving you, because then when they say it, it sounds easy. Yeah, 200K, because they're throwing out these numbers and it's so trivial the way they're doing it. They're not letting you know the work. Even when the caller who we were talking about in this recent show, you know, he called in and said, yeah, you're saying come up with this money and interest, don't worry about it, other people are paying it. It's not like harder than what you're making it seem. All right. But then Fresh and Phil will jump down the throat because they'll say, well, we tell people they gotta have the savings. It doesn't matter because you're oversimplifying this. This is why they need an expert, someone who can let them know the risks. You guys are on YouTube. You don't have a responsibility to, you know, to your fans, to be honest. Some of you guys don't even have those experiences, those backgrounds. So again,
it's just unfortunate, man, because, you know, like, not even just them, but with a lot of these red pill guys, not all of them, but most of them, they're taking advantage of desperate dudes that don't know anything. So it's like, what was I gonna say? They bring on, for the most part, they bring on scammers too, and they tell them, oh, like, you can invest in this business, drop shipping, FDAs. It's like, those are scamming businesses.
Yeah. Listen, and the fact that they have to sell a course on it, that's what's making them money. It's not the advice itself. It's the course. So that should already just let you know what the hell is up. And people should just really think, really realistically. It's not that hard.
Well, they say too that they're for average guys, but then when it comes to like the after hour shows and then other parts when they're not getting called out, then they're against us. Yeah. But they say they're for us. So they shit on average people by saying
big contradiction. You're right.
They say that, you know, they respect plumbers and average guys, yet they tell us constantly that it's unacceptable to be average. And it's like, okay, well, what exactly is average? First off, we have to define what average is, because let's just say you're short, but you're decent looking, you're in shape, but you make 70 to 80K, then you're not really average. You're actually above average, and that's fine. So, like, I don't understand, like, either these guys are actually retarded, like, stupid, or they just ignoring, like, the false fallacies on purpose because it goes against what they've been selling for the past 3 years.
It's the latter, right? They are ignoring it on purpose because it does go against it. So again, part of red pill guru scamming is you got to cherry pick a lot, kind of like what you were mentioning. So you got to cherry pick all the really good stuff to get you to buy into the program, and then oversimplify all the bad stuff so you don't really think about the risk. It's to keep you happy, and then when you realize it doesn't work out for you, and you're looking for somebody to blame, well, then when you go to them and say, hey, I listened to what you said, but, you know, this is what happened, they can look back and say, hey, but we told you, well, it's not our fault, you should have worked harder, right? So it's one of those things a lot of people need to be cognizant of, because these are the games these people play. And a lot of these red pill gurus got it from actual gurus like Ty Lopez, right? He's a fake guru too as well. Like Ty Lopez, all the other people that came out selling Facebook advertising, Amazon, and all these other freaking affiliate courses, right? They're the same people. They just borrowed the script. And we went through that era, and now we're going through another era, and like people still think it's something different. It's not new, dog. It's the same old shit. They even had Ty Lopez on a show, my guy. Like I don't fucking get this. But shout out to you. Is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, it's one more thing. I think it's funny how they clown or they get mad at the fact that women are earning more than men, but they don't push men to go in those same fields to earn that same type of money. It's like most people, like I would argue, you do more work with a business than you are being an employer. So why not just push people more into actually getting high income skills like being a doctor, going in tech, or anything like that, instead of pushing this entrepreneurial aspect when like, YouTube isn't even really a real job.
It's really not. And it can go over like that. Again, you're absolutely right. No, that's a good point because that's what we push here. I'm in tech and I push people all the time. I'm like, yo, you need to get into this right now. I work for a university, so it's one of those things where, it's even when you touch about the enrollment part, right? Women are we don't have a lot of men enrolling in universities, and we know that some form of education is one of the actually key parts to obtaining some level of financial stability in life and not working one of these dead-end jobs that can easily be replaced by a robot or AI, right? Women are particularly the ones who are enrolling and they're ones who are going through and graduating in a lot of these cases versus the men counterparts. Matter of fact, we've noticed a decrease in men attending universities now. And when we talk about this on the online, a lot of guys would say, "Oh no, well men are going to blue collar." You look at blue collar; they're looking for men right now to come work in these positions, and there are not enough men there. All right, so it's one of those things where you hear guys on the internet say, "We build the world and we do all these tough jobs and whatnot," and then you're looking in the real world and they can't find men in these schools. So they're not getting educated. They can't find men in these blue collar works. So we don't know who's doing all these things here. All right. Where are our men? What's happening to our men, right? And then these bolts want to come online and tell you, "Oh no, no, they're not doing anything. It's all for show." But shout out to you, Isaiah. I appreciate you being here, man. It's been an honor. I gotta have more call-in shows with this, man, for real. But,
yeah,
being here.
Yeah, of course.
A voice for your voice is meant for podcasting. So hopefully you start a channel and speak out more against this stuff, man. The more people who can do this, the better. I'm just saying. But shout out to you, man. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and just one more thing too, in regards to that, like most high value men aren't gonna have time to be watching Fresh and Fit like a full live stream to be super chatting and all that. So I mean, that's one thing, one thing on that.
No, you're absolutely right, man. Again, I just hope like more men could be listening to this and hopefully they can just wake up from it. That's the ultimate goal. But shout out to you. I don't play games with the two. Says, damn, I want to talk about how Myron is send. Hold up, send. What did he send? Let me know what he said, bro. Send me to the email. Let me know. I gotta figure out what he was sending out here. But shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all being here. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you spent the night with dukendon. I hope you appreciate it. It's been a minute since we had a call-in show, so this was actually pretty awesome listening to you guys and what you guys have to think. And we're gonna have it again, definitely. But what do you guys think? All right, do you believe that these advice? Put a 1 if you think you probably shouldn't take advice from red pill tards on the internet or pill poppers. Okay, or put a 2 if you say, Duke, you're wrong. This is more overreaction from you. And again, okay, you shouldn't be preaching this shit. Okay, men should take advice from Fresh and Fit. Put a 2 in the chat. All right, that's entirely up to you. I actually don't care where you stand. All right, just making sure that you stand somewhere or stand for something. Shout out to you guys, and I'm gonna catch you on the next one. Peace.